Hey, this is Joe Knotts with the Anvil and Iron podcast, and I'm sitting here with Josh Cates, founder and CEO of Market Like a Hero. Hey, Josh, thanks so much for joining us today.
Hey, Joe, thanks for having me. Good to be here.
Hey, great. Well, listen, really glad to have you here. At Anvil and Iron, we believe business leaders are forged through connection, conversations with people pushing boundaries, and that's what we're going to do today. We're on a mission to talk to the most innovative minds shaping business. And every episode, we like to sit down with leaders who are forging a new path in business and beyond. So the kind of people that, our listeners and your clients definitely want to know and be engaged with. So we want to have real conversations, no corporate fluff, and get right down to it. Hey, so obviously 2025 was the year of AI, right? I mean, if you think about it,
Yeah.
if you're getting ready for Christmas in 2024, nobody, and I mean like nobody, was using ChatGPT to figure out what they were going, what ingredients they were going to use and what they were going to make their table look like.
Right.
And I think 2026 is going to be the year where people actually start to put some real teeth and utilize AI effectively. But you had an interesting take on that. Share that with me.
Yeah, we were kind of talking about that before you started the show here. We were talking about, this time of year, I think a lot of business owners, including ourselves, we look at what worked, what didn't work, and what was like an utter disaster. And you had mentioned, AI scheduling and some challenges you faced with the technology. And, we kind of landed on this idea of like AI is amazing. We use it every day. It's a phenomenal tool for a lot of what we do with marketing and strategy, but nothing is going to replace that human touch. And at Hero, we celebrated 20 years last year. We grew between 24 and the close of 25. We grew 2.5x in top line revenue. So the business it's thriving. There's a huge need for what we do in the home services space. But we have to be really careful that we don't use AI as a babysitter to try to do things that at the end of the day, our clients are expecting human touch and human interaction and a level of excellence and quality. And so, the way we're using AI, we use it a lot internally for SOPs, ideology, fleshing out concepts. But where I'm seeing AI more impactful, we've got an amazing relationship with a company called Searchlight Digital. And basically it's these guys that were in the space and they developed this technology that plugs into the client ServiceTitan CRM, and it plugs into everything that we're doing on the digital and advertising side. And it truly measures and tracks opportunities based off the client's books. And so, open opportunities, potential revenue, missed or lost revenue, quotes, open estimates, closed estimates. And it really, through the use of AI and this technology, paints a beautiful picture that we've never had before when it comes to attributing and putting value to marketing services like ours. So I agree. I think this year is going to be the year of explosion where, you don't just go into chat and say, build me a workout routine for the next 5 days or, write a blog for my website. I think that we're really seeing that this is because I was in 2025. I was like, man, I'm a little nervous. Like people are building their own logos and they're writing their own blogs, but I've seen AI completely collapse business owners that have relied too heavily on it. And so I think it's like anything else. It's a tool that if it's used properly, it's an amazing piece of technology for all of us, but it's never going to replace that human instinct and that human connection between, customer or client or patient and an agency like ours.
I'd be really interested to get your take on how you've seen it collapse business owners. But first, I want to tell you, hey, congratulations, 20 years, huge milestone, right? And
Mhm.
in your 20, what 19th, 18th, 19th, and 20th year to 2.5x in that period of time, man, really hats off to you. So,
Yeah.
what would you attribute that growth to?
Well, we we have worked in over 70 industries in our 20 years. And about 5 years ago, we really settled in on the home service area, on that niche, HVAC, plumbing, electrical, garage doors. I love the smaller business owner. I love local community. We expanded our brand nationwide. We're in like, I don't know, 21 or 23 states or something at this point across the nation. So a lot through just, typical business owner. Like we've done well. let's roll the dice, let's take a risk, and let's expand our advertising nationally and see where it sticks. And let's really focus on this one niche. And so what we did is we back built with a team of former 8-figure operators and marketers and analysts. And so what we're doing is we're taking businesses that, maybe they're at like 5 or 7 or 8 million. And we're saying, okay, well, our team has actually been in the 20+ million range. So we know what it's going to take to get you to that point, marketing, operationally, with your team, with your trucks, your cash flow, your chart of accounts. So it's a variety of factors, but I think that we've got a phenomenal, very experienced team, and it was just primarily it was the expansion nationwide, get outside of our own boundaries of Texas and Colorado and Oklahoma, and we've just met the coolest people. I mean, I never thought I'd have a client in Boston, Massachusetts, or Baltimore, Maryland, or Key West, Florida, but we do, and they're amazing people. And at the end of the day, everybody's looking for the same thing. They're looking for a partner that they can trust, that's going to speak to them truthfully and honestly about what they should or shouldn't do with their business and help them navigate growth. And we've done that very well. So, you'd asked, well, where have we seen AI collapse? Most recently, where we've seen it collapse is a client had hired a previous agency to build their website. The agency went through chat to build all of their pages, and the site had what are called strikes. So like basically 2 major Google strikes against the site for content that was not original, content that was either plagiarized or duplicate or whatever the case may be, and their organic traffic just plummeted. And so the bad thing is when you're on a downward trend like that, you don't just fix it immediately. I think we've also seen a few clients that have relied too heavily on chat to try to do their own marketing. And, it might spit out a really good plan, but then they realize they are not quite sure what the implementation of that plan is. So I think you just have to be careful with it. I think 2025 was the year of us all kind of playing with and testing, chat and Gemini and some of these others. And I feel like it's getting very refined now, and it's becoming something like we hired in, I guess we brought on Pamela in September. We hired an AI and structured data website expert that had been in the industry, that knows this inside and out. And watching the highly technical aspect of what she's doing with our clients' websites, their structured data, the way that they're ranking and showing up on Claude and AI and Gemini and voice search, it is truly revolutionizing the way that we do website design and structured data and search. And it's been really cool to see, because the first thing you hear is, oh my gosh, all these people are leaving Google and they're going over to ChatGPT. So what's that going to do for Google search and SEO and rankings and paid? And we've had the best growth in our company's history. We haven't closed the year out yet, but I know as of November, our client portfolio as a whole collectively was up 41% in top line revenue year over year. So while a lot of people were kind of screaming and running for the hills and thinking, oh my gosh, chat's going to destroy my business and search, we actually saw almost every single one of our clients hit an all-time new high in top line revenue. So if you know what you're doing, it's a great tool. I think what businesses are going to find out is, for the ones that are not investing in a strong organic and SEO and AI strategy, they're going to be surprised very quickly when they just completely drop off the radar, and then they're not quite sure how to get back, in the game online.
Well, I would totally agree with you that it can put together some great plans for you, and it can be a great solution to bounce ideas off, but it can't execute for you. It can't execute at all. And there's another component, and I think we're in lockstep on this. People are relying on it too heavily to, for things that humans should take care of, and that is one-to-one interaction. So
That's right.
I believe, on the marketing side and on the sales side, the best utilization of AI is creating more opportunities for person-to-person interaction.
That's right.
Not to replace it, but to make more of those opportunities actually happen. And
That's right.
So that's a pretty good. I
Yeah,
think
because like we had a client, and I won't mention where they're from, but we had a client that had kind of 2 things happen simultaneously. They had one of their main trucks was broken into, and a lot of their equipment was stolen, and their main call center representative left. So they had these 2, fairly big events happen within a span of a couple of days. And so when you're looking at their numbers from that month and you see this dip, well, AI is not going to pick up on that. It had nothing to do with SEO. It had nothing to do with poor advertising. It had to do with the fact that the main person that runs their call center and takes leads and books appointments had stepped away from the role, leaving a vacancy, and one of their primary vehicles was broken into. So that's a moneymaker. So the second that's off the road, you're not making money. So those are the things that you identify, and you help the owner walk through that operationally and prepare for that, because you're going to have a dip in the revenue that month. But it's not something where you go, okay, AI, go fix this for us. No, it's not an AI problem. It's a you know crappy thing about running a business problem where just a few things really happen to affect that month. So we are highly hands-on. Casey, who runs our portfolio, and Kelsey have both worked in large 8-figure home service businesses. And so what's really fun to see is kind of a light bulb coming on when they're working with our client portfolio and really navigating them through things. Because we do marketing, but we also do operational decision making. We do CRM and strategy with all the data that's coming in to their system. We help with call center training. So there are things that are just add-ons to what we do that are just included because our team of experts have already been there and done that. And it's really fun watching these owners go from 3 million, to 5.5 to 7, and really understanding their growth and their revenue and their numbers. It's, from one entrepreneur to another. Like at the end of the day, I'm a small business owner. Most of our clients are small business owners. And so it's really fun when everybody can win.
Yeah, and it's really rewarding, isn't it, when you get to realize that you played a major role in increasing that organization's revenue. So you're helping secure jobs, and you're helping that entrepreneur realize their dream. That's pretty cool,
Yeah,
isn't it?
it is. I've kind of always told our clients, I'm like, think of us almost like a financial planner. Like you are handing the fiduciary responsibility of your business and your marketing budget, because these clients they're not spending small dollars. I mean, we have one huge client in Texas. Their ad spend alone is upwards of 100K a month. That's big money. And so I always tell them, think of us as like, kind of your financial planner. Like you're handing us something that we realize the weight of the responsibility of what you're handing us. And in return, our job is to hand you a business that's more profitable and growing. So, well, how do we do that? Well, in addition to all of our services, we're looking at dispatch boards every Monday, and we're looking at revenue every Friday. And the reason we look at revenue on a weekly basis is kind of like a CMO would step in, right? Like if you're looking at revenue for every single client in our portfolio, you're looking at every Friday, the trailing 7 days, the last month, and the last quarter. And we're comparing that all year over year. Well, it helps us identify trends very quickly. So if the client is trending up, well, then we know that we can add additional services, we can do additional tactics, we can continue to push that snowball down the hill and gain more momentum. Well, if the client's off for a week or two, we can identify that really quickly as well and go, hey, before we just lose the whole month, what's going on here? Because your numbers are dipping, and we can get into that with the owner operator very quickly. So, there's a part of what we do at Hero that honestly, I really haven't seen other agencies do, which is take that ownership of the numbers and the revenue and walk hand in hand with the owner and say, we're looking at this every single week with you, and we're going to identify you of good, bad, and ugly. And then every month when you close your books, we're going to also meet, and we're going to have a full report ready, and we're going to sit down. Because a lot of agencies, what they're going to do is go, here's our dashboard, here's the numbers, good luck. We actually sit down and have standing, we call it Money Week. We meet with all of our clients about the middle of each month once the books are closed, and we review all of their performance data and revenue with them. And it's a huge reassurance of like, here's where we're heading, here's our goal, we're meeting or exceeding it. And it's a big responsibility, but it also, I think, is one of the big reasons we've been so successful with our business.
Is that the ability to do that have to do with the relationship with that organization that you said that enables you to track what their revenues are? I mean, were you able to do that
Good
before that?
question. Searchlight has helped us. Yeah, I would say up until recently, with programs like Searchlight and AI assisted, um, things that help us with revenue awareness, I would say you always had a little bit of an asterisk next to some of your numbers. Like, well, this is
Sure.
what Google Search Console is telling us, and we feel like 95% of this is right. Or this is coming out of PPC, And what's really interesting with Google with Searchlight is we can take a really great performing campaign, because all of our paid media is run in-house by our Texas team, and they're phenomenal. And Searchlight can actually identify and say, hey, here are some additional opportunities you might not be seeing. So that's where AI really comes in and goes, let us analyze all this data that would be really difficult for a human. And, we might tweak one or two things and, go from an 8 ROAS to a 9.5 or 10 ROAS. Or, we had one client, we doubled the revenue, but with the same amount of spend, just by pivoting a few things in their campaign. And so what it does is it sheds light on things that really maximize their investment over and kind of over and beyond a great performing campaign. It could just take it to a stellar campaign. So yeah, good question. And then, with like ServiceTitan, which is a CRM, almost all of our clients are on. There are so many reports and everything, but we want to consult the client on that, because if it's not set up properly, it's that old adage of bad data in, bad data out. So, there's a lot of verifying and cross-verifying and cross-verifying and just making sure that we're constantly getting good information, and then running it by the owner and saying, is this also what you're seeing too? So it's constant. It's a constant battle to win in marketing. And but AI and some of the things that are coming down the pipe this year are certainly making it easier for us to make sense of what's really working well.
What do you see in 2026 that's got you either excited or, what kind of emerging trends are you watching closely?
Yeah, I think I wouldn't say there's anything that's like this emerging trend. I would say it's like this super crystal clear confidence that the things we've been working through in 2025 that really solidified in the summer are just bedrock foundational things that we're doing through 2026. Because one thing we talked about internally, AI and all these changes came on so quickly. I don't have like a manual that nobody else has, because I'm a marketing firm that I go, oh, well, I know how to use this because Google has sent me this manual. There was no manual for a lot of this. Like, it was stuff that was happening weekly, and you're going, holy cow, like they changed this with Google Business. They changed this with search. They changed this with pay per click. And you're like trying to kind of figure some of these things out on the fly. All of us were. So I think for this year, it's like, aha, we know that we found success with what is happening in the digital landscape right now. Now let's double down on that. So we actually we are not forecasting for massive growth in 2026. We would like to grow probably about 30 to 35% this year, because I feel strongly that there are still things that we want to refine and really dial in. And I don't want to get so big that we're focusing hero on quantity over quality. We have a great portfolio of clients. I love right where we're at. If we can grow a little bit more, great. But we still have got some work to do to really refine, because we rewrote a lot of our playbooks last year, including a pretty big rewrite on organic and SEO. And so this year is really that year to focus in on, hey, let's not turn all of our attention to growth. Let's turn all of our attention to making sure that our clients have the best year ever.
Gotcha. I love that. How can I say 30, 35% growth? I don't think that's a modest growth target at all. I think most of your counterparts in the marketing agency world would be quite envious of that type of growth. So good on you.
Yeah, after 140% growth, 30% feels very very nice. It's interesting because Casey, who runs our portfolio, worked for a huge company, and she said, at some point the fund's completely gone. And I have a guy in Colorado Springs that I know well that ran a very large 8-figure business. And he said, he kind of had cautioned me of like, this is the point where you need to really decide what you want for your life and your clients. Because if you cross over this certain threshold, it's a different business. And so for me, my wife and I are empty nesters. I love where we're at. I love the clients that we have. I like the diversity of our portfolio. And so we're kind of pushing up to that number of, I don't think as a business owner, you always have to say, we need to grow, 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 grow. I think it's very appropriate to say, I like where we're at. I like our team. I like our lifestyle. And I like the number of clients. Let's sit here for a year and just see what that looks like. And just do really great work. I've built 4 other companies. I've sold 3. And I'm not this guy that's just like, my ultimate goal is this number. My ultimate goal is I want great clients that love us. I want a team that loves us. I want to do really cool work and help people grow the business of their dreams. So, yeah, so that's kind of what 2026 looks like for us.
I love that. I'm also kind of a fan of just landing on a really positive note. So this has been really great. I totally agree with you. It's almost kind of a bit of a Jerry Maguireism, right? Fewer
Yeah,
fewer clients, less money. I know you're not saying less money, but I think what you are saying is execute even better for the clients that you do have. Of course,
hmm
you're always going to be prospecting. You're always going to be, because there's always attrition, right?
right.
But you don't need to be on some kind of massive growth because you're not Elon Musk trying to take over the world, right? You want to
No.
have a quality of life. Hey, so let's talk personal for just a quick second. You're empty nesters. Your
hmm
youngest just went where?
We have our oldest is graduating A&M in May, and our youngest is a sophomore at A&M, pre-med. So, yeah, I
Oh,
got 2 Aggies in the household, and then my wife is a 5th grade math and science teacher at a private school here in Texas. So, yeah,
gotcha. And you're from the
yeah,
Austin area, right? I've got
yeah.
a buddy I've done some pretty cool stuff with. Golly, his name is escaping me right now. Oh yeah, it's Spencer. He used to be with Cushman Wakefield,
Yeah.
and and so yeah, he's doing some really cool stuff with an organization called Hope of Life International down in Guatemala. They will actually host like corporate type events, in a really cool setting where they call it meetings on mission, where you can bring a team of business owners down and you can have your business meetings. They have a really fantastic, housing and everything for those folks. Everything's air conditioned, everything's catered, everything's wonderful, and then you can go and actually serve. So we call it like, when you serve with your team or your customers, you become really knitted in a really incredible way. So
Yeah.
I'd love to connect you and Spencer. He's really passionate about it, as am I. Um, well, congratulations. I've got a sophomore in at UNF. She was running at Charleston Southern until she got all banged up, and you know, uh, it's an exciting time. And we were actually terrified when the last kid went off to college for a little bit. It was like hiding all the knives in that house. But it turned out to be a fantastic thing. We actually love it when they're gone. So we love
It's
it
a
when they're
sweet
back.
season. It's a
It,
sweet season for sure. Yeah, we our oldest gets married in July, and we love the guy. We love the family. They're going to live about 15 minutes away from us,
let's
and
go.
so that's just awesome. But it is a new season. I mean, I still feel like I'm like that 31-year-old entrepreneur, and I'm going to be 48 this year, and I don't feel 48. I don't feel like anything has changed. But it's like marriage, and then what's next is grandbabies, and it's like I can't be a granddad. I'm like still mountain biking and skiing and being irresponsible. I can't be a granddad.
Sure, you can. We've got to experience it almost in a oh gosh, what do you call it? Like a synthetic kind of way. We have some really really close family friends that we've known since they were like 8 years old, and they're like children of ours, and their babies call us JoJo and Momo. So um,
I love it.
yeah, and so it's a
Yeah.
good time. It's a good time. Well, hey, listen, many blessings to you and yours. Thanks
Thank
so much
you.
for participating in the Amel and Iron podcast. We love talking to business owners, especially those that are forging a new path. They're growing like crazy, and they're having a lot of fun doing it. Hey, what is the best way for somebody to get in touch with you, Josh?
Yeah, best way to reach out to us is just jump on our website, marketlikeahero.com, fill out a contact form, tell us about your business, or schedule time on the calendar there. You'd be meeting with me or Casey or Kelsey on our team. And so, yeah, Market Like a Hero. You can jump on our Instagram at Market Like a Hero. We throw up all kinds of business tips for business owners. I think I'll leave you with this. As a business owner, don't settle for mediocrity. If you think you have a marketing problem, you do have a marketing problem. You need to get with a partner that's got your back, that's going to love on you, that's going to show you how to be successful, because this market will rip you apart if you don't have a good team behind you.
I love that. Well, that's fantastic, and it's a great place to land the plane. Thank you so much, Josh, and lots of success to you in 2026 and beyond.
Thank you, Joe.